Hello, students. Let's begin with something you might have noticed in daily life. When you pluck a leaf from a plant, the cut surface stays the same for days. But if you cut your finger, ouch, it bleeds instantly and then begins to heal. Isn't that curious? Why do plants and animals react so differently to injury? That's because plants and animals are built of different types of tissues. Remember, tissues are groups of cells that look alike and work together to perform a specific function. But here's the big question: do plants and animals share the same tissues, or are they completely different? Today, let's explore this fascinating comparison, and I promise you'll never look at trees or even your own body the same way again. Let's start with plants. Notice how plants stand tall without ever moving around? They are stationary, or in biological terms, sessile. To stay upright, they need strong support. But here's the interesting part: much of that support comes from dead cells. Why dead cells? Because once cells die and their walls harden, they form a sturdy, rigid frame like the wooden trunk of a tree. This way, plants don't waste energy keeping those tissues alive. Isn't that smart? They grow supportive tissues, like xylem wood, that act like scaffolding. And since plants don't run marathons or chase food, energy-saving dead tissues are perfect for them. In fact, that's why trees can stand for hundreds of years without tiring out. Now compare this with animals like us. We are always on the move. We run, we search for food, we escape danger. That requires a lot of living tissues. Take your muscles, for example. When you flex your arm, living muscle cells contract and relax like tiny biological machines, consuming energy. These tissues must stay alive to function because movement is critical for survival. So, while plants rely on energy-efficient dead tissues, animals invest heavily in active, energy-hungry, living tissues. Think of plants as long-lasting stone buildings and animals as dynamic sports cars, always moving, but needing constant fuel. Have you ever noticed how a tree keeps growing taller every year, but your pet dog stops growing once it becomes an adult? That's because plants and animals grow differently. In plants, growth is limited to certain regions called meristems. You'll find them at the tips of roots and shoots. These cells divide endlessly, which is why plants can grow throughout their lifetime. For example, a banyan tree can keep expanding for centuries. But in animals, growth is uniform. Our cells divide all across the body, and growth usually stops after we reach maturity. That's why there is no concept of growing tips in animals. Plants have meristematic and permanent tissues, while animals don't need such categories. Fascinating, isn't it? Now, let's talk about organ systems. Plants keep things simple. Their main complex tissues are vascular bundles, xylem and phloem, for transporting water, minerals, and food. That's it. Animals, on the other hand, have an orchestra of specialized organ systems: the digestive system, respiratory system, circulatory system, nervous system, all finely tuned. For instance, in plants, leaves make food through photosynthesis. In animals, food has to be digested in the stomach and intestines, transported by blood, and controlled by nerves and hormones. Different feeding habits, autotrophic for plants and heterotrophic for animals, explain this difference. Isn't nature brilliant at designing exactly what's needed? Here's a case study that really shows the importance of tissues. Think about amoeba. Just one single cell does it all: moving, eating, and excreting. But in multicellular organisms like plants and animals, life is far more organized. In plants, specialized tissues share duties: xylem pulls up water, phloem distributes food. In animals, blood transports oxygen, muscles create movement, and nerves carry impulses. This is called division of labor, and it makes everything more efficient. Imagine if you had to cook food, carry water, teach yourself, and build your own home every day, you'd be exhausted. Tissues divide the work so that life runs smoothly. So, what did we learn today? Plants and animals both rely on tissues, but their tissues are tailored to their lifestyles. Plants are stationary, and so they rely on supportive dead tissues and grow from specific regions. Animals are active, with living tissues that keep them moving, and they grow uniformly across the body. Plants have simpler, less localized systems, while animals have complex and specialized organ systems. And in both, tissues make division of labor possible, so life runs with efficiency and elegance. Isn't it wonderful to see how nature has engineered two completely different survival strategies? One, calm and rooted like plants, and the other, active and mobile like animals. I hope you now appreciate how intricate and purposeful these tissue differences are. Biology is truly the science of life's clever designs. Remember, every breath you take, every step you walk, every tree you see growing outside is a story of tissues working together. Until next time, keep observing the living world around you. It's full of miracles waiting to be understood.